It's a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Florida.
On a beautiful Saturday afternoon, the Philadelphia Phillies in town for the middle game of a three-game set against the Miami Marlins as we all count down until the All-Star break. Maikel Franco this season against Miami has 4 home runs, and overall his bat has heated up as it looks as though he has taken back third base in that Phillies lineup. And on the other side, Brian Anderson, who is well over 100 hits already this season, hitting 400 with runners in scoring position. That's the second in the National League. Last night, though, no runs on the board for the Marlins. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth kind of could have seen it coming last night. A bit of a pitcher's duel. Jake Arrieta has the Cy Young on the mantelpiece, and boy, was he good. So a pitcher's duel last night.
Well, certainly as expected. Chen's been pitching well at Marlins Park. Arrieta outstanding as well. He's been throwing the ball well. Lots of ground balls. That's what you saw from Arrieta. From Chen, you saw strikeouts, and that's a little bit different. But the one thing we know about Chen is that he's pitched really well at Marlins Park, and again did that last night. So 2-0. That's all it took for the Phillies to get the first one.
Well, it was tough for the Marlins to figure out Jake Arrieta in the opener this series, and in the middle game of this series, it's a guy who is headed to the All-Star game, the lone Philly representative that is, who is going to be on the roster on Tuesday, and in the game today with 126 strikeouts. Aaron Nola has been superb.
Yeah, not only has he been superb, I mean, it's been a story. He's gotten better. He's only 25 years old, so where is the ceiling? If he were to win today, or his next win, maybe the best way to say it, certainly hope it's not today, would be a career high. That tells you where he's at. He's already got 12 in the first half this season, 2.27 ERA. He's been brilliant, whether it's at Citizens Bank Ballpark or on the road. He's been their top guy.
And again, for Aaron Nola, this is not just, well, somebody's got to represent the team. This is a first-place team right now, and this guy has been nasty. And when he pitched here in Miami earlier this season, he was nearly unhittable.
Well, and he really is. You know, the one thing that he's doing a little bit more pitching up. What you're seeing is a lot more fastballs. Well, using the fastball a little bit differently. Not that patented sinker that he's been using his first 3 years. He's actually using the four-seamer a little bit more. He still dominates the low zone, but will elevate at times.
We'll see what he's got in store today, and if the Marlins can even up the series and set up a rubber match for tomorrow. When we come back, the guys will talk home run derby and who they like in D.C. coming up on Monday night. We're back in a moment.
Taking over, yeah, we taking over the game.
about 5 minutes away from the first pitch. In the meantime, out to center field, Craig and the guys.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. And take a look at Justin Bohr, who had an outstanding game yesterday, offensively, defensively. Terrific ball game. Of course, last year, this time right here, he had a lot of fun and got on the Major League Baseball map, if you will, in the Home Run Derby. He was outstanding, one after another. Very colorful and entertaining routine as well, including donuts from his pal Big G, Giancarlo Stanton. And I think everybody enjoyed watching Justin Bohr last year. Not this year. He will not be in the Home Run Derby that is in D.C. Guys, your picks, we'll break them down for you. It's going to be fun on Monday night.
Well, we're going to look at the brackets so you at home can make your picks, and then I'll give you mine, and Nelly will give you his. But in round one, the thing that surprises me is that you always have to maybe think about right-handed, left-handed hitter. But I'm going to go, I checked in with a couple of my Chicago sources.
Yes.
And I'm going to go with the guy who is the long driver of the contest, Kyle Schwarber. He has 17 home runs this year. He hit 30 last year. He's lost 30 pounds, if you remember the way he looked last year, but he hasn't lost any muscle. He hasn't lost any power. I'm going with Schwarber, mainly because I just love the way he swings. I like the way he swings the bat.
He's in a good bracket, too. I like the bracket that you picked. You know, he's got a good matchup and then a little weaker than the other side. Well, I'm going with probably the most exciting player in baseball. I love watching this guy. He's a daredevil on the bases. This is why I think he has a chance, because you just see that home run, that was at his eyes. He's got 18 bombs this year. The only thing I'm a little concerned about, this guy swings hard all the time. Will he tire himself out? I don't know. But it doesn't matter where the ball is. He'll golf it out. He's almost like Vladimir Guerrero. You can bounce it and he'll still try to hit it out. So we're both going with Cubs. What about you?
Were you guys not here earlier in the week? We saw the winner of the Home Run Derby. He leads the National League in homers, Jesus Aguilar. I mean, he had a battle to get to the All-Star game.
I think the big guys are going to get it. He's going to have to feed him donuts or some.
Would you watch if it was Big Papi and Ichiro, though?
Yes. I'd like to see both of them in there, but Aguilar wins. He leads the league in homers with 24. I mean, it was right there for you guys, and you missed it this week. All right, coming up, Game 2. Nola and Richards, the matchup. Marlins trying to tie up the series. Paul and Holly will have the call next.
Back and ready for baseball. Trevor Richards' first pitch of the afternoon is a called strike to Cesar Hernandez. In the middle game of this 3-game set is underway. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, glad that you're with us. And now the 0-1 to Hernandez. Misses a little bit low. Even up at a ball and a strike. Well, Hernandez leading things off today. The rest of the Phillies lineup presented to you by Southwest. Mikel Franco in there in the number 5 spot with a home run in last night's ball game. Has had some very good numbers in his career against the Miami Marlins, so they'll try to keep him in check this afternoon. It's a ball and a strike right now to Hernandez, as Richards kicks and fires. This is outside. 2-2.
Now back-to-back changeups already. See Trevor kind of diving right into the secondary arsenal. See the numbers on the season. I would expect more of the same today. You go back to his last start, he threw 40 changeups in that start in Washington. He walked 7, 5 Ks. You're seeing less of the breaking ball. Well, he was talking about it in the pregame show. I definitely think that curveball's got to find value, whether it's the front end of at bats or at times trying to put hitters away. He's got to get these Phillies to respect it.
Lined out to center field. Maben is there for the first out of the afternoon.
Let's get you the Marlins defensively for this afternoon's ball game. Dietrich in left, Maben in center. Anderson over and right picked up his 6th outfield assist last night. Prado, Rojas gets the start at short. Castro and Bohr, JT behind the plate, which is on the mound.
Well, if you hear barking dogs, you are likely not losing your mind. It is Bark at the Park Day today. That's why there's a lot of pooches in town. Also why you hear those subtle bark effects, which have been throwing me off the last couple days, I must be honest. A lot of oh, let's see, that's nice. French Bulldog. I have a Boston Terrier at home, so those pointy-eared little guys, that's up my alley. So lots of shots of dogs throughout the day, folks. Just get ready for that. And whoever is in charge of cleaning the ballpark later today deserves a raise.
Good luck.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Rhys Hoskins. This one looped into shallow center field. Out is Castro, but this will fall in for a base hit for Hoskins.
Well, I'll tell you what, 2 batters into the ball game, you get to see the cruelty of the game of baseball. Hernandez steps in and lines out to center field, and Rhys Hoskins goes down to one knee, completely fooled, loses the top hand, and dunks one into center field for a leadoff hit.
Just out of the reach of Starlin Castro, but perfectly placed if you are Hoskins. A soft hit, but a hit nonetheless for a guy who came in hitting .345 in his career against Miami. And in steps Odubel Herrera. 11 for 26 against the Marlins this year with a home run and 2 RBIs. Well, check that, 2 RBIs, no home runs. But he does have 16 this year.
Yeah, baseball doesn't make much sense. Hernandez's line drive, exit velocity 98 miles an hour. Hoskins base hit to center field 67. See, I mean, it's like this is what baseball. This is why baseball players are just a bit crazy.
A little off.
A little off. We all admit that. Pitchers, hitters, you name it, are all a little different.
Does it really even itself out? That's
No,
what everybody always
come
says.
on.
It evens itself out.
No.
No?
Yeah, it doesn't even itself out. You couldn't play a lifetime and think that's going to happen. There's too many defenders. I mean, think about it. As hard as it is to hit the baseball, on top of it, we're going to throw, well, the 7 defenders, or I guess 8 if you want to count the pitcher. You've got to get it past 8 guys. Good luck.
Now with the shift, oh, forget it.
Ooh.
Forget it.
Round bat, round ball, shifts, defenders, and the defense gets the ball.
That's right.
Defense starts with the ball. There you go. Good changeup to Herrera. I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about when it comes to Richards and what the game plan is and what he's trying to accomplish. You see the circle change, you see the downward tilt, the arm side run, the ball falls. It's what he needs to do. It certainly explains why left-handed batters are hitting .225, but here's the complication and what Richards is really dealing with lately. .336 batting average against the righties. So his fastball runs into righties. his changeup runs down and into righties as well. So they're getting a good look at a lot of what he does. Now, with that being said, how can he balance that out? Well, that breaking ball at some point it's got to show itself. We've talked about this basically every start, and the numbers have held. You see the numbers, those are the opponent's batting average, lefties and righties, but this is the one I constantly talk about. When he gets ahead in the count, 0-2, much like he is now, he's got the ability to put hitters away. 157 batting average against, but when he falls behind, hitters are hitting 403.
He is well ahead of Odubel Herrera here, 0-2 with Hoskins off of first after the one-out base hit into center field. Softly hit right side. Castro has the play at first, but Herrera beats it out.
Yeah, you wonder if Hoskins had anything to do with this. Castro had to wait just a second for him to pass. I almost think that Hoskins kind of deliberately timed it out, knowing that the only play was probably at first, and he definitely is going to beat it. You still see the ball suspended in the air before it gets to the interior of Justin Bour's glove.
Well, neither of the two hits would be defined as scorchers, but whatever way you slice it, 2 on and 1 out now for Carlos Santana. Santana 0 for last night. A couple of plays made on him by Justin Bour. One in foul territory over his shoulder. JB made the play. And then an absolute rocket later in the game right at Justin Bour to make the play and step on the first base bag. It's all kind of how things have been working out, as you see StatCast. Powered by AWS, the distribution of infield balls put in play off the bat of Carlos Santana. And there have not been many balls in play for Carlos Santana, in a sense. In his last 22 games, he's hitting 171. But the .358 on base percentage still very good. He has drawn 23 walks in that span.
Well, he's ahead in the count, 2-0. He struggled against the Marlins this season, though. 148 batting average against through 7 games. And part of that has been the stellar defense we saw last night against him.
2-1 on the way to Santana is in there for a called strike. Well, for Richards, you know, I joked about it the other day. I think it was Sunday, going off the air, and I said, well, I wonder what Richards has in store for his next start, because his last 2 starts, he was the one that started the 16-inning game to the Tampa Bay Rays, and he was the one that started a game in which the Marlins had 22 hits, scoring 10 runs against the Washington Nationals, and that was the game that snapped a 14-game skid to Washington. So something of note for this club the last 2 times Richards has taken the ball. From 2-0 to 2-2, and a called strike 3.
Well, if you're not going to throw the breaking ball, you've got to have pinpoint fastball command. And you see the 2-seamer, he moved it around the zone perfectly. The 2-0 pitch at the bottom of the zone, yeah, a little bit out over the plate, but the last 2 fastballs right to that inside corner. Santana could not pull the trigger on any of the 3. Got to hit 2-0.
Here is Maikel Franco, 1 for 4 last night with a home run. Just terrific numbers this year, hitting .357, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs in 7 games against the Marlins.
Well, a long home run last night. You've got to be so careful. Again, we told you the splits on Richards. Righty's hitting .336. I mean, this is the guy in the lineup you circle. Say, don't let him beat you. Watch this home run last night. My goodness. It's not a terrible pitch by Ziegler. It's down below the knees. He goes down and gets it. I mean, that's what a hot hitter does. He can expand his zone sometimes. Franco right now is just all over anything that he thinks he can swing at. He's expecting good things to happen. He's a dangerous hitter. 10 extra base hits in his last 20 games.
Those are the season numbers this year. In his career, 8 homers, 35 RBIs in 53 games. Two and two.
Now you wonder if Richards can make the change up the great equalizer against him. In fact, you hope that at some point maybe there's bad contact down there as well. Franco's willing to expand. We saw it last night. He only saw 8 pitches. He swung at 6 of them.
4 ABs.
Yeah, I mean, he got in the box ready to swing the bat last night. White object on way swinging.
Fouled off 2 rosin bags last night. This
right.
one down the right field line. And that will reach the seats.
Well, I mean, he's the one guy in this lineup. Listen, the Philadelphia Phillies have kind of transformed their offensive philosophy. They walk, they see more pitches. A lot of these guys are really buying into it, but to me, he's the one that's like, I'm still going to do it my way, which is a little bit of the, you know, I like to swing the bat. I'm going to get in the box, and if it's not going to bounce, it's a good chance I could do something with it.
Well, he is a guy, not going to get into it now with 2 strikes and 2 outs, but a guy that is fighting for his life in Philadelphia right now, just in terms of being on this roster. Right now, it's Richards fighting to get out of this jam with 2 on and 2 away. A little bit low. The count runs full. Home plate umpire this afternoon is Eric Cooper. Todd Titchener is over at first. Gary Cedarstrom, the crew chief, is at second. And Sean Barber, the umpire, at third. Both runners will get a head start. Hoskins from second and Herrera from first on the 3-2 pitch. Cut on and missed. JT hung on, and the inning is over. A nice job to get out of it by Richards. Did hold on.
Well done.
On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet. See your South Florida dealer today. And by your South Florida Ford. An RBI clinic here at Marlins Park. So lots of kids getting some instruction.
Love
Waving at the camera, saying hello, and thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
I'm going to do a few of them in the parking garage today. I was like, what are you guys doing here? We're here for a little clinic. Oh, it's good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Derek Dietrich leads things off. The Marlins starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Brian Anderson and JT Realmuto also due up in this first inning against Aaron Nola, who is the lone representative for the Phillies in the All-Star game. Dietrich back in the starting lineup in today's ball games. Came oh so close to giving the Marlins a 2-1 lead in the middle innings last night. This one down the left field line. He hit one to right center field, right on the padding at the top of the wall, and that led to an out at the plate. Stayed a 1-0 game. Phillies added on later and took the opener. So today they've got to get through Aaron Nola. The numbers, well, they're good.
Outstanding, making his 20th start of the season. I think what impresses me the most, even going back to April, he's already up to 123 innings. Giving him a lot more leash. Remember, Nola was on the mound when the whole what are they doing taking him out of the game so early that first week of the season. Gabe Kapler went out, got him, pitch count, they ended up losing the ball game. Look at him now. I mean, he is rolling. Looking for 13th win tonight. That would again be a career high for him in the first half.
1-2 pitch on the way, and that one misses upstairs. Give him a little leash. Was that a pun intended on Bark in the Park Day?
No, it's just a possibility. I may do that all day long. No, I didn't mean that.
Okay, good. I just checked because
any dog references out of my mouth are a complete accident.
I was keen to it. I heard it.
285 ERA on the road for Nola. He has pitched very well at Citizens Bank. 19 starts coming in. Today is his 20th. Quality starts, 15 of them. Last 9 starts, 6-0 with a 2.16 ERA. It's impressive. Lefties 196, righties 205.
Payoff pitch on the way to Dietrich, and a line drive, base hit up the middle, right back through the box. And Dietrich begins the day with a base hit.
A great swing of the bat, 2-2 pitch. If you're going to get Nola, now's the time to do it. First inning ERA of 4.74. That pitch at the thighs, a little bit of the plate. So good swing there. And the reason I bring up the first inning ERA of 4.74, and you may say, well, that's not too terribly high. Well, get this, no inning higher than 2.76 the rest of the way. Some of those mistakes have shown themselves early in ball games.
One on now for Brian Anderson. Swings at the first one, fouls it right back. He was 0 for 4 last night, but 6 for 18 on the homestand. 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, a triple, and a home run.
I look for the Marlins hitters really to work hard today, trying to get Nola up. 85 of his 126 strikeouts, 67% at the knees or below. It's partly because he's got tremendous secondary pitches.
But he has given up another hit. Back-to-back hits right up the middle. So I don't know if it's a similar approach, but certainly similar results for Dietrich and Anderson.
All right, with runners on first and second, let's go ahead and get you that AutoNation scouting report. Balanced attack. You're going to see it today. 4-seam fastball, sinker, change, and curve. Get this, 33% on the 4-seam fastball, 18% on the sinker, 22 on the change, and 26 on the curve. I'll tell you, that lends itself to not falling into too many patterns and having that 4-pitch arsenal, using them very diligently throughout his start. So he's very, very confident. Super secondary. He's got that changeup. Hitters are only hitting .210. 27 strikeouts against the changeup, and the curveball even better. 186. Get this, only 9 extra base hits and 50 strikeouts on that 12-6 curveball. 40% of his strikeouts on that pitch and run. Here's the other one. See if the Marlins are even thinking about it here in the first. 16 stolen bases allowed in 21 tries. It's the second most in the National League. Remember, he's throwing more off-speed pitches here of late. So that could be a chance to see these Marlins run. They have been a little bit more aggressive over the last week or so.
An early rally mounting against one of the NL's best, Aaron Nola, who steps off. Of course, Aaron Nola is the younger brother of Austin Nola, a catcher in the Marlins system, who, as we speak, is hitting .286 with a home run, 21 RBIs, and 13 doubles at Where else? Nola for the Baby Kings. Here's the 0-1 to Real Muto. Takes that one low, ball and a strike. JT 0 for 4 last night, but the numbers with runners in scoring position very good. 328 hitter, 3 homers and 30 RBIs. Dietrich and Anderson back-to-back singles to begin the afternoon against Nola. Perfect pitch makes it 1-2.
Well, this is his 9th career start, Nola, versus the Marlins. 3.88 ERA against them, 3-3 record. He's got that drop and drive delivery. Does not have a very high release point. In fact, his arm generally very low in the zone.
JT and Aaron will be sharing a clubhouse in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Got a piece to stay alive. Real Muto this year 4 for 17 against the Philadelphia Phillies. I suppose you could call that struggles, especially since he has set the bar so high against everybody. Missed that early series in Philadelphia, their home opening series, as this one is lined foul down the right field line. JT was working his way back from the early season injury, so he missed the home opener, and the first home series for the Phillies was back late April when the Phillies were here, and this is the first time since late April, first couple of days in May, that the Marlins and Phillies have met up. They'll see a lot of each other in the second half of the season. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now the count runs full.
Tell you what, Marlins are grinding on Nola right now. They are taking some tough pitches. They're showing some tremendous discipline. Nola had 15 pitches in. He's yet to record an out. I told you about that ERA in the first inning. 4.74. By far and away his worst inning.
Three-two on the way. And the bases are loaded here in the first.
Wow, what an at-bat by JT. My goodness. Nola forced to throw basically the kitchen sink at him. Everything, every pitch in his arsenal, including the elevated fastball, he threw at JT and able to work the walk. Well, this is how you build an inning. You got to make this pay off. You've now loaded the bases against one of the best right-handers in the National League. You have got to make them pay. This has got to be a scoring opportunity that comes through.
Now it's Justin Bour. 5 for 14 with a home run, 3 RBIs on his modest 4-game hit streak. Takes a strike. May have just caught the black. 0-1. Does have 3 grand slams in his career. This year, though, 0 for 5. Phillies have 3 men on the right side of the infield against him.
I do believe JB's last 2 home runs have come on curveballs. Putting it out there. If I remember correctly, on the road trip, took one away and drove it out to left center field in D.C. The home run just the other day, the 392 sign on a breaking ball. Nola has yet to allow a base hit with the bases loaded this season.
Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Well, that secondary stuff, you talked about it. It was on display to get strikeout number 500 in his career.
Yeah, number 51 on the season on his curveball. How about that? Well, he went after it. As I mentioned, JB had been seeing the curveball pretty well here of late, but mano-a-mano in a big spot here in the first inning. Advantage Nola.
So that is 500 career strikeouts in 480 innings pitched. The fastest Philly to 500 strikeouts in terms of innings pitched. Cole Hamels got to 500 strikeouts in 522 innings. And just in terms of anybody getting 500 strikeouts in a Phillies uniform, Starlin Castro holds up. Any Philly in a Phillies uniform, Cliff Lee, needed 506 innings to get to 500 strikeouts. So a very impressive beginning of the career, Phillies career, however you want to slice it, for Aaron Nola. And in terms of this game, a big strikeout for him as well. Bases loaded and 1 out.
I think what's impressive about that is that he's 25 years old. 500 strikeouts, and he is
might be
big
around
league
the
terms. Just, well, I mean, I'm not going to call him, you know, he's a baby in age, not in major league experience. I mean, it's a testament to his stuff. I mean, he's been in the big leagues for a number of years now. Philadelphia Phillies, I think they'd agree. They feel like they've got an ace on their hands.
Ball and 2 strikes now to Castro, who had his 17-game on-base streak snapped in last night's ball game. But over the course of his last 18 games, getting a shade under 400, 4 home runs and 9 RBIs. A chance to add to both columns right now. In fact, all 3. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Chop. Franco gets 1. A good slide there by Realmuto, and there was no throw to first, so it's going to be an RBI ground out for Castro.
Pretty good reasoning by Castro, I would say, in that situation. 1-2, you've got to find contact, even if it's a slow roller to the left side. Here's why. You know, Nola's trying to get the ground ball. He gets it. Again, you're just playing the percentages that you don't hit it right at somebody and you hit it so hard that, well, they turn that double play. So in this instance, well done. Nice slide by JT straight to the bag, and really only gives them the 1 out. You've got to get something out of the bases loaded here in the first.
Well, they've got 1 and a chance for more as Martin Prado digs in with 2 on and 2 out. Martin was 0 for 3 last night. Marlins only had 3 hits against Jake Arrieta and company. Four hits and 12 trips in his career against Aaron Nola. Nola has already surrendered 2 hits in this ball game. His last time out was the second game of a doubleheader against the Mets, and it was the first time that a Philly won a game with 2 or fewer hits since September 30th, 1988, over the Expos in Montreal. That's the 3rd hit of the ball game for the Marlins, and RBI for Martin Prado, and a 2-0 lead for Miami.
I'll tell you what, Paul, the Philadelphia Phillies continue to give Rojas and Prado just room on that right side. How many times have we watched them go the other way, particularly in these situations? Look where Hernandez, I mean, they're playing double play depth. You've already got 2 outs in the inning, and you know where these guys like to go. Nola's getting a lot of room on that outside corner, too. So they start to think out there, pokes 1 through the right side, and they pick up an additional run. Well done. Good job. Martin Prado, run number 2.
And on the backside of that play, Castro moved to 3rd. So another 1st and 3rd situation here for the Marlins. A 2-0 lead against Nola. And here is Miguel Rojas.
Now 12 first inning runs this season. He's only given up 33, so 36% of all the runs he's given up this year have come in the first inning.
Yep, a classic case of get him early or don't get him at all.
I mean, does it not surprise you that Hernandez is playing as far over as he is at second base with, you know, Prado and Rojas stacked in the lineup the way that they are?
That's where they operate, the right side. I'm flabbergasted as you are.
That's very interesting to me, but again, Prado took full advantage of that hole. Remember, those are balls on the ground. That's the idea, but I mean, that's a pretty balanced attack, and again, we're talking situational hitting here with both of them, both with Prado and certainly with Rojas. In these types of situations, they both concentrate middle away.
I mean, is this a situation where, I mean, listen, this day and age, there's 1,000 different numbers that you can get, but where the advanced scouts would come into play and say, yeah, okay, that's where the percentages say, but well, because they'll see a Philly scout, for example,
sure,
come and see the Marlins 2 weeks in advance, right?
Right.
A week or two, whatever. They'll see what we see. He's aiming to the right side.
You know, I mean, again, you're thinking, I mean, I'm thinking like a hitter. Nola's thinking like his arsenal and how he's trying to get him out. But the point is that, you know, these are two veteran guys who know how to keep their hands inside of a baseball. And if you've got an opportunity to go that way and pick up another run, take it. That's the bottom line.
Mark Leiter Jr. up as the next pitch from Nola will be number 30 in this inning. This is inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. I guess at the end of the day, Phillies knew what they were doing. Ground ball to the left side, but the Marlins get 2 against Nola.
The second inning, Out to Marlins Park to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the legendary movie The Sandlot. It's tomorrow. Receive a Ham Porter bobblehead powered by South Florida Ford. Purchase a VIP ticket package and you'll receive a limited Squints bobblehead. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/sandlot.
Well, Trevor Richards has a 2-0 lead to work with as we move to the top of the second inning. He'll see Nick Williams, Scott Kingery, and Jorge Alfaro for the Phils. Holly, did you get your Ham Porter bobblehead?
I did. I hit it from all of you. We all have extra
the one
sticky
I'm holding,
fingers around here.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of yeah is going to be here tomorrow too. I'm being told.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Really?
I was halfway there. I figured I'd finish it up.
He's got his bobblehead. He's amused.
Yeah. Well, I just figured folks at home may want to see what they can go on and get your ticket package for one of these tomorrow. Right there. Little Ham Porter bobblehead. Marlins hat on the back. 25 years.
It's pretty amazing
for this movie. Were you that kid out in the streets, like playing baseball with the neighborhood
all day
kids?
long. All day long. I grew up in just outside Philadelphia. This is all we did. All we did was play outside all day long. Wiffle ball, baseball, tag, bases. I mean, we did it all.
Were you the
Get the girls involved. We'd play kickball on the street. I mean, it was everything. But everything was kind of centered around baseball, particularly during the summer.
Right. Were you the one that made it, or were there more kids that made it to the big leagues or professional baseball?
Right, from my street, I was the one that made it.
Yeah.
I was the one that made it.
Three-two on the way to Williams, misses upstairs, and that is the first walk of the afternoon for Richards. Of course, walks were an issue the last time out for Richards. He had 7 of them, a season high. And as he does here, walked the leadoff hitter in 3 of the 4 innings.
Well, you see how much pressure is applied to his fastball accuracy inside the strike zone. We talk about that changeup. It's a great secondary pitch. Gets lots of swing and misses. He can throw it for a strike at times, but that's it. He can't just come out and use the changeup. I know the numbers would lead you to believe that, well, maybe he should just throw 100 changeups, right? Well, that's not the way it works. It would absolutely lose its effectiveness. He's got to be able to set it up. So the idea is he's got to use his fastball more than anything to do that, because that's what he trusts the most. The curveball is what you hope is starting to come around. Fortunately, over the last 2 starts, you've seen less of the curveball and more of the 4-seamer and that change.
Kingery out to right field. Anderson coming in. Thought about it, but back to first goes Williams. And there is 1 out.
Yeah, there's a pretty good look. That's what he was dealing with. You mentioned the number of walks, and it's not that you blame the curveball or the changeup for the walks. It's the fastball command, because they don't necessarily get to the changeup. And we talk about the changeup being that great swing and miss pitch. Well, if they're not swinging at it all the time, a lot of times it's a ball because it's exploding out of the zone. So you see what ends up happening is it drives up his pitch count. In fact, that start, 3 2/3 innings, the 7 walks, 87 pitches. He really has no hope of getting through 5 when his pitch count is driven up that much.
He's at 35 pitches right now. Was able to get out of some trouble in the first inning. After the first out, back-to-back hits by Hoskins and Herrera before 2 strikeouts to get out of trouble. And so far here, a leadoff walk, which, as we mentioned before, was a little bit of a bugaboo his last time out. And as we saw in the first inning, today there was a lot of that, even though it wasn't a long outing last time out. Don Mattingly asked about it after the game, said every inning was a fight.
Yeah.
Just to try to battle through, navigate the traffic. But he was happy and seeing how Trevor Richards was able to get out of the jams. I'm sure he'd like to see less of that, but the fact that he was able to get out of it was certainly a good thing.
Well,
As we mentioned, that was a game to salvage the last of 4.
He's learning how to fight. I just hope that he gets to fight with a little bigger arsenal as his career, starts to blossom.
Fouled off at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Alfaro. Alfaro is 9 for 22. That's a .409 batting average with a couple of home runs and 4 RBIs in 6 games this year against the Phillies. Against the Marlins, rather. Two pitch on the way from Richards. Grounded foul. Williams away from first after the leadoff walk. Here is the 2-2 pitch. A little wide. It's full. Big strikeout there for the second out of the inning. He had to battle to get that, his 3rd of the afternoon.
Well, and again, this is the benefit of the great changeup. He picked up a swinging strike. Well, Alfaro on the 2-1 changeup down in the zone. What it does, 91 miles an hour feels like 93 when you're sitting on a changeup, or 95. In fact, Alfaro just got blown by him at 91 miles an hour.
Now Aaron Nola lines one foul into the seats. Nola 3 for 36 with 19 strikeouts this year. He does have a hit against the Marlins. His last time out, a bases clearing double in the 5th inning. He's got 4 RBIs this year. On the ground right side, Castro gets to it, spins and throws to Bohr. And the leadoff walk is stranded in the 2nd. 2-0. Heading to the home half of the second inning. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins, whose bark we can definitely report is just as bad as its bite. Do not disseminate. You got me, Holly? Don't even think about it.
Locked in.
Good. Time for your Toyota Inside Look. Best team records when a pitcher starts. Luis Severino 18-2. The Yankees are when he toes the slab. For Aaron Nola, the Phillies are 14-5. A .737 win percentage. But Nola had to work in the first inning against the Marlins today. Gave up the 2 runs and threw 31 pitches. And that is the second most pitches that he has thrown in the first inning all year. You have to go all the way back to his second start of the season when he lasted 5 innings against the New York Mets. He gave up 2 runs in the first inning, threw 32 pitches, 18 for strikes. Today, 31 pitches, 20 strikes.
Well, gotta like what Dietrich did, setting the tone in the top of the first. Long, lengthy at bat, resulted in a base hit, kind of set the tone for the inning. Anderson followed it up, and a great at bat by JT. There's all sorts of applied pressure in that situation. I'd love to see the Marlins do it once again here in the second. I bet you Philadelphia Phillies, if they saw Nola going through that first inning again, have that bullpen up and ready.
Nola, a young man who grew up in Baton Rouge, went to LSU, and then was drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies. 7th overall back in 2014. And when he came out of college, Ruben Amaro Jr., who at the time was the Phillies GM, said, "We knew that we would have a solid major league pitcher, but we viewed his ceiling as probably a number 3 or a number 4. Well, this year it's been anything but. He went on to say that his makeup and the way that he goes about his business, his ability to adapt and adjust, as you see over the last year and a half, probably elevated him to a higher level. And Ruben said that he's particularly pleased with that development, and he has certainly put himself on that ace level.
Now, one thing Nola continues to do is adapt and adjust. That to me is what's impressed me so much in this young 25-year-old throughout his first couple of seasons here up here at the major league level. I mean, even you look at his sequencing, he's changed what he has traditionally done first couple of seasons, even till this season. There's a big breaking ball for strike 3. I mean, I already told you about it as we gave you the AutoNation scouting report, the balanced attack. It's almost a 50-50 split with all 4 of his pitches. This big breaking ball right here, which is the top of the zone. But one thing we've seen from him this year, talking about Nola, more 4-seam fastballs. Don Mattingly talked about it in his Saturday afternoon interview with Craig Minervini. You're seeing it at the top of the zone, no doubt about it. The Marlins have done a fantastic job laying off it so far. He's gone up there a few times and they have not chased, but you're seeing more of that and less of the sinker.
Oh, 1 to Richards. And quickly 0-2. A couple of hits this year for Trevor. And a called strike 3 again goes to the curveball, 2 away.
He's backed up the last 2 curveballs, both to Maven and Richards. He didn't have that in the first inning. In fact, that arm side breaking ball was kind of hanging out on the inside part of the plate, wasn't getting back to the plate, wasn't getting the call. Here in the second, that has not been the case. Definitely an adjustment from that first inning to the second.
Nobody on, 2 out for Derek Dietrich. He led off the ball game for the Marlins with a base hit and came around to score one of the 2 runs in the first inning. swing, says the third base umpire Sean Barber. Dietrich started the day 20th in the National League in batting average. Now up to 291. But down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes to Nola, who has 2 strikeouts in this inning and 3 so far this afternoon. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here it comes from Nola. In the air, left field. Hoskins in a couple of steps and now over. And will make the catch for the final out of the 2nd inning. When we come back, El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, joins us. Top of the 3rd on the way, a 2-0 Marlins lead. There he is, El Presidente Dennis Martinez, throwing out the first pitch. Miss Nicaragua this year, also throwing out the first pitch. I got to say, I think yours was a little bit closer to the zone, El Presidente.
Well, you could still pitch. I know you could. You could go out there and probably throw 100 bullets.
Not anymore. I wish.
Probably a quality start.
Wish. It's not easy. It's not the way it used to be. But I was kind of a little bit off the strike zone today, the way that I normally was. But I had a surgery 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
So I was kind of a little worried about that, and I want to make sure that I get the ball to the home plate. But it was okay. It was all good. Yes.
Generally good.
Yes.
Good. Very good. Again, of course, Dennis Martinez joins us. He of almost 4,000 major league innings, celebrating Nicaragua Heritage Day. I love the jersey with the flag on the side. This looks good.
Well, yes, it is nice. We've been doing this for the last couple of years, and we really want to give the gratitude to the Marlin organization to be able to allow us to celebrate the Spanish Day, especially for the Nicaraguan people. It was a mixed emotion for me today to know that we were celebrating this day for our country, but also thinking about what was happening in my country, which is a lot of people been hurt, a lot of kids been dying, been killed, and there's something that it's too hard to be able to be in that situation. In my case, being from here, knowing what is happening down there, I was trying to enjoy it, but at the same time, I started thinking about the suffering in the people in Nicaragua. So but it is what it is. And but I'm really grateful to be here and be part of the Marlin organization with this day, which is beautiful.
Well, you know, as we see, whether it's Nicaragua or Venezuela or, you know, any of these countries where, you know, guys come to the United States to play, there's always that connection, you know, with where they grew up, whether it's in the offseason, guys will go back home for the All-Star break or what have you. That connection, no matter where you're playing, whether it's Montreal in a completely different country, United States, whatever it might be, that connection never leaves.
Well, that's the good thing about it, that to be in this country, and I'm really grateful for that to myself, that I was allowed to come to this country, and when I was 18 years old, leaving my country and come to this beautiful country, which, you know, you feel comfortable, you have freedom, the speech and everything. So, you know, it is amazing, but after you realize that, you understand how beautiful this country is all about, and you start wondering about how the people, they have a lot of things to say about us here, but hey, this is the best. I mean, you can't be in any other place. I'm feeling here, I'm feeling heaven compared to our places, our countries, even though it's my country, it's my blood where I brought it up. But then going back, you feel like, how can this happen in this era? You know, being in that situation, killing people just because the people are not happy for you to be in power. So, I mean, I don't understand that, but then it is what it is. Like I said, you know, it's something that we have to deal with it.
All right, let's talk a little bit of baseball right here, because few people have seen more of it than you. As I said, 23 big league seasons, almost 4,000 major league innings. And if you listen closely, you might even hear Dave Van Horn. Have you stopped in to see DVH yet today?
I haven't, but I always come and say hi to him because he was there with us. He enjoyed it, and you can hear the voice. Listen.
In the air, center field, Grissom, El Presidente, El Perfecto.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Great call by Dave Van Horn right there.
Yes.
You had an incredible career. Look at your numbers there on the side of the screen. 245 wins. I mean, you did everything. I faced you once, for crying out loud. I didn't get a hit against you. I was 0 for 1 in my career. We had to look it up. Our careers, you were kind of towards the end. I was just starting out my career, but we did cross paths. Why is it, do you believe, that we don't see more players from Nicaragua?
Well, we will start to bring on more players now, but then with situations like this that are happening, that's what is stopping, to be able to develop more players.
Right.
Because in my time when I was coming in, it was in 1974. So that wasn't the time where everything started moving along real well. We had a good period of time then when we started developing some good players. And then war started again, you know, and that's in the 80s. So it stopped big time with the youth. So the youth had to emigrate their country. So it was evolution that for 10, 15 years, we didn't have nothing around. So it took a lot of time to be able to go back again. Now we start developing players. We have a Blandino with Cincinnati. We have Ramirez with the Mariners. We have a couple other guys, Culver with Kansas City. We have another pitcher also with Ramirez with the Angels. I mean, we have some mix of players. We have Jonathan Loaiza with the Yankees that he was sent down a couple of weeks ago. So the mix started coming up along real well. So baseball in Nicaragua, man, is very #1. So it's a matter of time. You know, it's a matter of time.
Is it the most popular sport in Nicaragua, baseball?
Number one, yes, number one. Baseball has always been.
We always seem like soccer's taking over the world. That's what we're always told.
It is now. I mean, believe it or not, I mean, you know, FIFA has been doing a great job to be able to develop that kind of system, which is great. You know, in Nicaragua also it's a great evolution. People they playing a lot of soccer because it's cheaper, they said, than baseball. And in some way, I agree with that.
You know, it was a pleasure to visit with you. Unfortunately, we don't have more time. I know you got to go talk to DVH too.
Oh boy, well, that's great. I can't wait to go and talk to him.
All right, a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, man.
All right,
thank you,
I really
Presidente.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, man.
Celebrating Nicaragua Heritage Day here at the ballpark with Marlins up 2-0. Welcome back. Bottom of the third, a 2-0 lead for the Marlins. A couple of first inning runs against Aaron Nola. It'll be 2, 3, and 4 due up against the Phillies righty as Brian Anderson takes a called strike. Then JT Realmuto and Justin Bour. Anderson singled and scored in inning number 1. And with that base hit in the first inning, broke that tie. The last 2 rookies that have 105 hits, he and Corey Seager. Now 106 hits in the first half of the season for BA. So it's 31 pitches in the first inning, and about half that in inning number 2. So that all gets back to kind of what you were talking about earlier in the game, Holly, about how his first inning ERA is, you know, again, not horrible. It's 4.74, and the rest of it, the rest of the game is 182.
Yeah, well, it's 276 or below. I mean, that's just kind of where you go. I mean, it's the chink in the armor. When somebody's going as good as he's going, and you generally pinpoint a couple of places of weakness, if you even want to call them that. That's what you got to do, is you got to make them vulnerable and take full advantage.
Let's take advantage of Craig Minervini, who is available.
Now, please don't, Paul. It's not very kind of you. Hi, everybody. We've been talking all year long about pop time. We talk about JT Realmuto, who steps up to the plate now. But how about the guys in the circle right there? Realmuto at the plate and Jorge Alfaro for the Phillies. When you look at the latest metrics, these are the kind of the new metrics you've seen over the last maybe 5 years. The pop time we talk about, Alfaro is right there with JT. Alfaro has the strongest arm measured by StatCast. It's over 90 miles an hour. JT's over 87 miles an hour, and their exchange rates, JT in the top, as you could see, 5 in those 3 categories, and Alfaro a little bit lower, or not quite as quick in exchange, but still well over the average. He's thrown out 17 guys that leads the league, 34%. Realmuto's even got a better percentage, and it's impressive to watch these 2 guys. For Alfaro, he's a guy that got in the Cole Hamels deal a few years ago, still has rookie status. But boy, has he been an anchor man for the Phillies behind the plate, guys.
Absolutely has been, and Craig, we appreciate it. In fact, also Nick Williams in that deal, and Nick Williams in the starting lineup today. So, yeah, that as we get near the trade deadline, you always hear teams, whether, you know, right now it's the Orioles with Manny Machado kind of grabbing all the headlines, but if you have that piece, if you are the team that's out of it that has that piece, boy, you can really spin your organization in a completely different direction if you get the right pieces. You get a backstop like Alfaro, who seems to have a ton of promise. This one grounded to Santana, who flips to Nola for out number 2. The Phillies also got in that deal Alec Asher, Jared Eichhoff, Matt Harrison, who was really just to kind of offset money if memory serves correctly, and Jake Thompson, along with Nick Williams and Jorge Alfaro, all for Jake Diekman and Cole Hamels. That was a big deal in 2015, and now Gabe Kapler has all these pieces as the first place Phillies. At a high watermark this year, 13 games over 500.
12-4 in their last 16 ball games, 3.11 ERA. That's second best in Major League Baseball. Worth bringing up because Alfaro's behind the plate most of the time. He's their primary catcher. Certainly should be given some, obviously, some applause for the success of this pitching staff, particularly in the month of July.
Ball and a strike to Justin Bour, who struck out back in the first inning. And down to the count, a ball and 2 strikes here. One of 3 strikeouts for Nola through the first 2 2/3. And the 1-2 pitch. He's in there for a called strike 3. That's 4 strikeouts for Nola, who has settled in since the first. But 2-0 Miami. the fourth inning. A 2-0 Marlins advantage. Geico takes us back to this day in 2004, July 14th, the 75th, the Midsummer Classic. Armando Benitez, Miguel Cabrera, Mike Wall, Carl Pavano, the first Marlins All-Star foursome in Houston. This year, JT Realmuto, the lone Marlin, heading to the All-Star game next week in Washington, D.C., but well-deserved. We can certainly talk chapter and verse of where he is in terms of leaderboards among catchers. Without a doubt, belongs there. I mentioned earlier that Maikel Franco might be kind of fighting for his Phillies life at this point. There was some talk coming into the year that maybe he had, kind of used all of his chances up, and coming into it, remember we talked when we were in Philadelphia first week or so of the season. Well, Manny Machado's a free agent, Josh Donaldson's a free agent, Phillies could be active. Well, Gabe Kapler decided a little bit more than a month ago that J.P. Crawford was going to get most of the playing time at third base, and the Phillies were going to continue to develop Scott Kingery, who they signed to that big contract before he even played a game in the big leagues. So it was going to be Crawford and Kingery getting most of the playing time. Well, 11 days later, Crawford suffers a broken hand, and Franco, who fouls this one off down the left field line, long way, but foul. Since then, since kind of getting put back in the lineup, has been nothing short of impressive. Since June 20th, 24 for his last 69, which is right around 350, 4 homers and 10 RBIs. He had the home run last night, so this one up the middle. Castro for the first out.
I just think it's such an interesting dynamic. Franco, see a little frustration there as he crosses the first base bag. But the point is this, when you look at his numbers on the season, they kind of line up with everybody else on the Phillies. I mean, nobody's way out in front of him. But I do find it interesting because it has a story. It's been one that's followed him because last year was a disappointing year. When you look at what expectations were, he did not meet what the Phillies had hoped for. Now, he's definitely been a little bit better and more productive this year. But the point is that he's the guy. He's like the hottest guy in their lineup right now. So even the Machado conversation's almost understood one because, we kind of all agree, right? Machado makes anybody better. So the Philadelphia Phillies are looking to improve. But I guess my point is that, like, should he be the one in the awkward position as the hottest hitter currently on the Philadelphia Phillies right now?
Yeah. And what they said at the time was, we kind of know, and I'm paraphrasing here, we kind of know what Franco is. We want to see what Crawford and Kingery are.
Sure.
And again, from a distance, I'm not in that clubhouse. I only see this team, 18, 19 times a year. So 2-1 to Williams, lined out to Dietrich in left. And that is out number 2. I'll finish my point in a second, but most importantly, tomorrow on Fox, Pogba and Mbappe, along with the rest of France, take on Luka Modric and Croatia in the FIFA World Cup final. Coverage begins tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. So to finish my point, as Kingery digs in, again, from a distance, it seems like, well, we know what he is, and he's not what we want, in a sense. But he has done everything to prove them wrong, at least in the last few weeks.
He's got 13 home runs in the season, 3 homers last 6 games. Talking about Franco, the point is that I've seen this a number of times through my years in the game. That you light a fire under a guy this way, and sometimes they capitalize on it.
Lined out to center, Maben racing over. He'll make the play. Hit that one right on the button, but into the glove of Maben. A quick inning for Richards. He sets the Phillies down 1-2-3. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Cleveland Clinic. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Bark at the Park today. And, oh, Jessica Blaylock is here with her dogs. What are their dogs' names there? Chi-Chi and Chocolate or something?
No idea.
Poopsie and Mustard. What are they called?
I have no idea.
I'll have to send a message. This one driven out to right field and tracked down on the track by Nick Williams. Starlin Castro is retired. I'll send her a text now. I'll figure it out. They're cute dogs, but I forget the names.
Now for Nola, first inning, 31 total pitches. Second and third, as we make our way here in the fourth, a combined 25 pitches.
Oh, that's right. Lemon and Chester Copperpot.
You were close.
Names. Yeah.
What'd you throw out there? Chocolate and something else?
Yeah.
Biscuit or something?
Yeah. I believe it was Poopsie and Mustard. First pitch.
Nice.
There you go.
How about that? Caught it. And then dropped it.
I mean, it's a game of fetch. Can't play tug of war with a dog. They get aggressive.
There's a lot of slobber on that ball.
Yeah, there is. Kind of like that scene in The Sandlot. Tomorrow, by the way, Sandlot Day. Oh, and 2 to Martin Prado. Takes upstairs.
Martin, a huge RBI single in the first inning. A little exclamation point on that inning. Kind of felt like Nola was about ready to escape. Prado lined a single into right. 2 outs. Go in the second run.
Up the middle and another base hit for Martin. He is 2 for 2 today.
Prado's just toying with them right now. Yeah, remember we told you about, you see that low release point from Nola on the breaking ball. Prado stays right on it and goes right through the middle. Okay, so as we told you the first time up, it seemed like to me that Hernandez was playing way too far up the middle for Martin Prado, who's so good at going the other way. Well, right before that pitch, he actually moved over. Santana was playing off first base, so kind of taking away the hole on the right side. Well, Prado goes right back through the middle.
That's just a professional hitter.
Yeah, well, it's funny how you throw that out there, but if you were to ask him right now, were you thinking about going up the middle? He's like, what are you talking about, man? I'm fighting for my life up here.
Just bat on the ball.
That's right.
Just bat on the ball. That's it. Well, he leads away from first as Miguel Rojas takes the first pitch from Nola inside. Rojas grounded out to end the first inning. A 2-run first inning for the Marlins. 2-0 right now. A 2-0 win for Philadelphia last night. So a low-scoring game and a half or so between these two teams. Middle game of a 3-game set. Last series before the All-Star break. For 9 in his career against Aaron Nola. One of the 7 home runs this year for Miguel Rojas against the Phillies. Hit one off of Jake Arrieta in early April.
Now, Prado doesn't run much. Certainly mentioned it again in the Auto Nation scouting report. You got to run at some point. 16 stolen bases allowed, 21 tries. That's second most in the National League. We've told you how many off-speed pitches he's using. The other thing with Alfaro behind the plate, he's got to control a lot of this. Now, we've told you that he's thrown out 17 base runners, but he's also been part of allowing the most stolen bases in the National League, 33.
This one into shallow left center field. It will stay up long enough for Herrera to make the play, and there are 2 down. Well, speaking of stolen bases, that'll bring up Cameron Maben, who's got 3 steals in his last 4 games played. He has seen a few more starts the last week or so and may continue to see them, as we found out yesterday that Lewis Brinson may miss a couple of more weeks with a bone bruise in the hip.
I'll tell you what, Maven's done a nice job filling in for Brinson. Outstanding defense in center field. He's run the base as well, and he's getting on base pretty regularly. Base 3 times yesterday, a couple walks and a base hit.
Well, for Nola, approaching 70 pitches. It's 66 right now. And there are 2 outs here in the 4th inning. But just in terms of the pitch count, and I suppose the run scored too, everything really settled down since that 1st inning. Much more economical. (3-0) to Maben with Trevor Richards on deck. Green light on 3-0 is grounded to Franco over at third. And the inning is over through 4 at Marlins Park. 2-0 Miami. Welcome back. Top of the 5th. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, Craig Minervini. Bunch of kids in the ballpark, bunch of dogs in the ballpark, but not a lot of runs on the board. It is 2-0. As Trevor Richards has been crisp today, a solid bounce back from his last time out when he walked 7 Washington Nationals. Although the Marlins still won that game, and they are in front by a couple as we play on in the 5th. 8, 9, and 1 due up against Richards. Jorge Alfaro, Aaron Nola, and Cesar Hernandez. Richards struck out Alfaro back in inning number 2. One of 3 strikeouts today for Trevor.
He did a nice job battling back against Alfaro in that first at bat. Fell behind. Used the changeup to set up the fastball. Second start behind the plate today for Alfaro.
right field line and foul. 0-2.
You think about who at the All-Star break, deserves that time off, that well-earned time off. Listen, the outfielders and the players, we all were, yeah, we got to get to the All-Star break. We're tired. You want to know who's tired? You want to know who's tired on a team? That guy. Yeah. JT Realmutos. Those guys are the ones that have been grinding all first half.
Yep. Well, the catchers like JT that can play first base and get a little bit of a break here and there.
Well,
not that it makes it easy. I understand that.
Yeah, I know where you're going with that, but what ends up happening is that he's still playing,
right.
and he's just playing at first base, so his day off starts over at first, where, other catchers, they just actually get the day off and they rest in the dugout. A lot of times on day games, maybe we'll see that tomorrow. JT's bat, too valuable to keep out of this lineup too often.
Richards is ready to roll. Alfaro's taking a little while to get set. Hence the delay, but here we go on 0-2 line down the right field line. Anderson slides to slow it down, but Alfaro will get to second with a leadoff double.
You see this fastball redirected. Alfaro stays behind it. Type of swing that kind of leads you to believe he was really guarding against not only the fastball, but the changeup as well. He was thinking about letting that ball travel deep.
His 13th two-base hit of the season, and now a bunt situation likely for the Phillies. And Richards gets a check on Alfaro. Prado and Bohr expecting the bunt on the corners, both on the grass. A 2-0 game.
Well, even that fake right there shortens Alfaro up.
Richards will make the play over to first. And the Phillies execute the sacrifice. Runner at third, one out. So here we are back to the top of the order. Cesar Hernandez. Above the league average. This runner has scored 8 of the 14 times with less than 2 outs from third. Takes a strike. This is also where the numbers kind of spike for Trevor Richards. It's just the trend. Who knows if that's going to happen today, but third time through the lineup, hitters are hitting .343 against him. That coupled with the fact that he's up to 75 pitches. Keep a close eye on him with a 2-0 lead.
Now the Marlins are conceding the run on the infield. Only Prado is drawn in at third.
Ball and 2 strikes. Well, you want to win the game, but how much does it, this is kind of the confluence of a few different things here. So, say what you will, and some will, about the win meaning something, but this is the 5th inning with a lead to get him through 5. So there's that. Just a little upstairs, and it's 3-2.
Yeah, Richards is pitching well. I don't think that's really anything he's worried about. The Marlins are worried about here. He's been pitching very, very well today. That would have definitely been the case in DC, where his pitch count, spiked at 87 pitches through 3 2/3. Of course, tons of offense in that game, and you'd say, well, how long can you go with him? to try to get him that win. So there was a lot more offense today. Now, this is a 2-0 ball game. I don't know if there's a tremendous amount of wiggle room. Don't hold me to it. I mean, if he starts to walk guys again like we saw in his last start, you'll see some bullpen activity real quick. And you're right. I mean, they know the numbers. They know that third time through, the batting averages start to go up. The contact starts to go up as well.
This one into shallow left, and it's Rojas for out number 2.
Tell you what, though, he's done a fantastic job this afternoon of making pitches in big spots, and maybe that's becoming his MO. We know there's been a lot of traffic out there, but bend but don't break, as I like to say.
And the other thing too is that the pitcher spot due up first. So, you know, there's that how deep do you want to go into the bench sort of thing, and it makes life a little bit easier if he can get through 5.
Well, I think he's to the point now in the ball game where obviously he's going to be afforded every opportunity to get through the 5th. You may even see him in the 6th and lead off. I mean, there's no reason to.
Hoskins to right center field. Maben back to the wall, makes the catch. Oh, what a long run for Cameron Maben. Wow. Able to track that one down and put it away for out number 3.
Oh, man. Get it done. Hats off. That's right. Fearless.
Go a long way to track one down in right center field.
I'll tell you what, he makes this look so easy. You know, as a former outfielder, you put yourself into his shoes, and I'm slamming into the wall, I'm hurting my neck, I'm laying on the turf. He not only made a very difficult catch, as you see, full extension into the wall. I mean, he gave us the sense that this entire time he was completely under control. There was nothing that was, you know, hats flying off, body slamming into the wall, or he wasn't going to be able to slow down or protect himself. Honestly, he didn't even leave his feet. He made it one of the most difficult catches we've seen here at Marlins Park this season look incredibly easy.
Nor did he fumble it. That was a snow cone. That was a snow cone, and the glove and ball hit the wall before anything else.
Yeah, fantastic job tracking it. He had a great read and a great route. He was a little bit deep on the ball as it got to the wall, which allowed him to kind of curve around that wall just a bit, which was, you know, he put himself in a really good spot. A lot of times you'll see an outfielder, he'll pick a good line and it will be a straight line into the wall. And what ends up happening is, at times you'll see the Billy Hamilton, he'll climb the wall. Of course, he's a great athlete.
Right.
And then you've got other guys who just bravely go into that wall like maniacs. And that ball right there was exactly that. But Cameron did a fantastic job just kind of rounding off his route there at the end.
The 0-2 to Trevor Richards. This one grounded to short. Kingery off balance makes the play. Well, you mentioned Spider-Man, so here he is last night.
And Carpenter
Billy
looks
Hamilton in center field. He's under it, and then he keeps going, and then he's back, and he climbs the wall to make the catch.
You know the worst part about that catch?
The catch probability
Well,
number?
no, not
I'll
really.
give you in a second.
I'm talking about Matt Carpenter. Yeah,
Oh.
you see the look on his face? That's frustration. That's an incredible catch by Billy Hamilton, but here's my point. He did that to Matt Carpenter 2 years before that catch. He's taken 2 home runs in his career away from him. How dare he?
How dare he?
Thievery. Those are fighting words.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Billy, I got to have a talk with you here, sir.
Enough
You've now
is enough.
taken, what, 2 home runs? I mean, come to, what, do they grow on trees?
There's Derek Dietrich. 1-1. Yeah, so I totally buy the 22% catch probability for Cameron Maben. 20% of center fielders make that play. I'll buy that one. You want to know the number for Billy Hamilton's catch probability?
What do you got?
90%.
What?
Yeah, come on.
Maybe we're reading it backwards. Is it 10?
No, it's 90.
For the Hamilton catch?
For the Hamilton catch, it's 90.
Well, then he's a showboat.
Well, he did pull up a chair in center field and then get up from the chair and continue to go back and make the catch.
Then he's just showing off is
Right.
what he's doing. Yeah, I don't know. Catch probability. I
have my issues with it.
I've lost
yes.
a lot of faith in that.
There's a tremendous amount of good that comes from StatCast. Sometimes the catch probability leaves a little to be desired.
I have to admit, I was, as a former outfielder, very curious, and I love the idea of, route running and measuring outfielders, and I mean, because again, there's a huge difference. I mean, the thing about it is, I think fans watch and they see what a great catch looks like, but how you can process out a great catch, and that's what StatCast does for you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, that those sometimes ridiculous numbers just start showing up, and I'm like, I mean, I'm the one person that takes this quite offensively, because I know what an incredibly difficult catch the Hamilton one was.
Right.
So to even ask me to try to explain to somebody why that would be 90%, it doesn't even seem right, does it?
No, it does not.
Like, how could I possibly tell Reds fans that, boy, he should have had that?
Well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, okay? It's 1-2 to Dietrich right now. So last year, and you'll remember this, Marcell Ozuna in this ballpark, left field, scaled the wall.
Quite simply, actually, he made it look real easy. He did, admittedly, made it look easy because he got there. He got back there fast, right?
Remember that play?
I
and
do.
then, do you remember the Austin Jackson play last year at Fenway Park?
Yeah, the one where he nearly
dead center field, flies over the wall.
left his lunch in the bullpen.
Okay. Austin Jackson was 98% catch probability.
Right.
Ozuna's was 97. So here's the thing.
Right.
So in a former life, when I worked at MLB Network, the following couple of days or later in the week, Dietrich down for the second out here in the 5th inning. I talked to someone, as you see the catch last night and the catch today, left and right of your screen. I talked to Mike Petriello, who's a big part of StatCast with MLB.com. They do a terrific job. And what he told me was that the catch probability has it just the way that the algorithms, and trust me, I'm not smart enough to figure it all out, they don't account for the wall. So it's all about like what they would call like opportunity time is mixed into it. So it's not the acrobatic finish of the catch on Billy Hamilton.
No, it's just the outfielder getting to the location.
Getting to how much time did he have to get to it, set up for it, and all that stuff. And the wall apparently doesn't exist. We're through 5.
appreciation for all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Welcome back to Marlins Park, top of the 6th inning. Miami with a 2-0 lead on one of the best pitchers in the National League, Aaron Nola. Both of those runs coming in the 1st inning, and it could have been a little tighter if not for the guy we just saw, Cameron Maybin, in center field, and the pitching today of Trevor Richards, who has really buckled down against this Phillies offense today. Bounced back from a 7-walk outing against the Nationals his last time out. 5 scoreless innings, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. And back out there for the 6th, he'll see Odubel Herrera, Carlos Santana, and Maikel Franco. First one is in there for a called strike to Odubel Herrera. Got a base hit in the 1st inning, the second of back-to-back hits with 1 out. But then after that, it was a strikeout of Santana, a strikeout of Franco. And really, that was the biggest threat today for the Phillies. After that, you know, they've had a couple of base runners. They've got 4 hits through 5 innings, but Richards has been crisp.
You know, remember back to the 1st inning, the Hoskins base hit and the Herrera base hit were not hit hard. I mean, they were, yeah, we'll call them weak hits. They're hits nonetheless. Certainly, Richards was definitely in a little bit of trouble.
Dribbler to second. Castro gets rid of it quick. And Herrera is retired for the 1st out. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Isaac Galloway down at AAA with the New Orleans Baby Cakes. Last couple of weeks, 3 doubles, 4 homers, 6 RBIs, hitting .412. An 8th round pick back in 2008. His 9th home run of the season last night, tied for 5th in the Pacific Coast League with 18 stolen bases. There's Carlos Santana, 0 for 2. Marlins play 3 men on the right side of the infield, but all of them have a foot, it looks like, on the dirt. That's kind of what when we were in Washington, D.C. last week, as this one is lined out to Anderson, who leaps and makes the catch.
Tell you what, Santana's keeping his composure, but I know the Marlins have kind of had his number this season, but that's got to be the 5th lineout we've seen from him on the season. He had a couple yesterday. A hard hit ball, but you know what? An out's an out in this ballpark. Nice job by Anderson.
Had to tend with the bird out there too. Makes a nice play.
Yeah, it's Animal Day here at Marlins Park.
It is. That's true. Yep, there they are.
Well, we like to keep track of this. Through 88 pitches, 29 changeups this afternoon. Trevor Richards. Try to put value on how good his changeup is in a lot of different ways, and even this 3rd time through the lineup, I think you watch the way that hitters react to it when they throw it, even when they know it's coming. It's almost like a knuckleballer. You know, a knuckleballer is going to throw a knuckleball. 75 of the 100 pitches are going to be that knuckleball usually. Well, very few knuckleballers just throw 100 knuckleballs, if you know what I mean. And we don't see too many in the game anymore. That's what his changeup has become. You see the frustration in so many of these Phillies hitters today. They're actually looking for the changeup, sitting on it, and telling themselves it needs to be exactly something, and then it changes itself as it enters the hitting zone. Herrera's kept telling himself not to swing at it. And what did he do? He swings at it twice with weak contact to the right side. He's going to throw it right here to Franco. Franco knows it's probably coming. He's going to do his best to do something with it.
Right around that same spot he hit the home run last night, too.
Well, this is true, but it was also pretty close to being a strike 3. See, he was anticipating probably more drop as it entered the hitting zone. It wasn't there nearly as much. It's so interesting to watch lineups react to his changeup.
Pitching coach Juan Nieves out to talk with Richards after issuing just his second walk of this afternoon. His other one was a leadoff walk in the second inning. That one, of course, stranded as he is not allowed to run through 5 2/3. Trying to register 6 innings of work for just the 4th time this year. And 3rd time since being recalled from AAA. Right around where you want to see, outside of that first inning, of course, right around where you want to see the pitch count. 10 to 15 pitches per inning would be great. He's been right in that zone as Brad Ziegler begins to loosen here in the 6th inning.
93 pitches for Richards, 62 strikes this afternoon.
Tell you what, between Odubel Herrera and Nick Williams, both of them are barely in the batter's box. This setup is similar to Herrera. That right foot is on the brink of being outside the box.
They definitely generate some momentum into their swings. They've got the, call it kind of the gate. Watch that front leg. It's going to close up and he's going to kind of hinge that hip in and then step towards the pitcher. Where he starts is not where he's going to finish. That's how they, every swing's got a trigger, and for them, that's where their trigger is. Now, Williams has had a very interesting year. I thought many of us believed that he was going to be a starting outfielder every day. This Philadelphia Phillies team as he swings through another changeup. Dave Kapler kind of changed his role around. He does play against a lot of righties and has a fair number of at-bats. He's been hitting for power. A lot of his damage has been done off the bench, in fact. As a starter, hitting only .230.
Got Williams set up, a ball and 2 strikes. Franco away from first. Here's the pitch from Richards. A little low, 2-2. He's at 97 pitches. He's only cracked 100 twice. April 25th, and that was in fact, both times that he has pitched, thrown 100 pitches, less than 5 innings of work. He gets Williams on pitch number 98 of the day, and he gets his 4th strikeout through 6 scoreless innings. It's 2-0. Welcome back. We flash you back the Coors timeless moment. The late Roy Halladay with Major League Baseball's 20th perfect game, beating the then Florida Marlins 1-0. Losing pitcher that day was Josh Johnson, who was no slouch himself. 1 run over 7 innings at work. But Roy Halladay, who also threw a no-hitter in the postseason against the Cincinnati Reds, with a perfect game, May 29th, 2010. JT Realmuto to lead things off.
As you mentioned coming in, Aaron Nola having a Halladay type first half. No doubt about it. Since 2010, there's only been, well, 3 guys who have had an ERA below 2.5 at the All-Star break. Obviously, Nola on pace at 2.27 coming into today's start. You got Hamels and Halladay. Halladay did it twice, 2010 and 2011. Entered the All-Star break with an ERA of 2.19 and 2011 2.45.
And another breaking ball in there for a called strike. 1-2. Left field line, but this one will hook foul off the bat of JT Realmuto. And then Justin Bour and Starlin Castro due up against Nola here in the 6th.
Well, Paul, here we are in the 6th. Marlins scored 2 in the first. Nola's allowed 1 hit since the first inning. Any surprise there?
Not really. This one chopped to third. Franco. And it's Realmuto for the first out here in the 6th. Yeah, the Marlins have 4 hits, and 2 of them Martin Prado.
We'll see how important that second run was. Certainly felt awfully important at the time back in the first inning when he drove in a run with 2 outs. I'll tell you what, Justin Bour mentioned last couple of home runs have been on curveballs. Nola's almost toying with him this afternoon.
Right side, that's Kingery in the shift.
And what I was getting at, he's only seen 1 fastball. First at bat, he saw 3 consecutive curveballs. Then he saw curveball, 2 changeups, and 1 fastball. And he started him off his 3rd at bat with another changeup. So tons of off-speed pitches for the big guy.
Well, to see Nola dominate is really no surprise. I mean, you can see his numbers on the season against everybody, but you'll also recall that he retired 17 straight Marlins on May 2nd. He had 7 strikeouts in 7 1/3 innings pitched. A little low to Starlin Castro, who was 0 for 2 today. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st and flew out to right field. Inning number 4. Now, part of the reason why we're seeing Nola today and not tomorrow, and really the Phillies kind of had their option as to which day, because he and Eflin, who starts tomorrow, both pitched in the doubleheader against the Mets. But one of the reasons why we're seeing Nola today is so that he would be available to pitch on the big stage on Tuesday in Washington, D.C. If he pitches tomorrow, well, then he's kind of ineligible to pitch in the All-Star game. So he goes today. Phillies hope that he can, show the baseball world just how good he has been in this first half. And he's been good today, too. But the Marlins got him for 2 in the 1st, and they have ridden that out into the bottom of the 6th inning. Franco, fair ball, and he will just eat it. In fact, he'll flip it into the seats.
Wow.
He thought it was a foul ball.
Yes, indeed.
And now Castro will get second base. I thought he was just going to eat it because it would have been an impossible play.
Well,
he thought it was foul.
Well, not only did he think it was foul, Castro didn't run out of the box. That was the other thing about this. So he didn't throw the ball. Then everybody started yelling at Starlin to run. And then Franco obliged by turning his back to all the action at home plate and threw the ball into the stands. It's going to be a 2-base error. Watch, Starlin believes it's foul. He kind of gave up on it. Realized at the last second, I better start moving. Michael Franco helped him out.
Don Mattingly right now is talking with the home plate umpire Eric Cooper.
You know, it's interesting. I believe that's being ruled a 2-base error. Would it have been a hidden error if Castro was running right away?
Possibly. You know, I don't know the exact ruling on that.
I'll tell you what, it's one of the oddest plays we've seen this season. Plug your ears.
Go, 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 go.
Run! Let's go. Move it. The interesting thing about it was when Franco went to the backhand, he kind of looked away. Sometimes you'll do that every now and again, you know, kind of peek away on that short hop. So he wasn't really looking towards the field of play. Maybe a little assumption involved. There's a little assumption on Castro's part. He didn't bust it out of the gate. He probably thought it was foul too. An opportunity to the hottest Marlin this afternoon. That definitely changes the dynamic of this inning. Prado 2 for 2 with an RBI.
The 1-1 to Prado. Popped up. Couple of steps on the outfield grass. That is Hernandez. Well, a wild play, but Franco bailed out. One happy fan gets a fair ball. How about that? Could have been worse. Michael Franco threw a fair ball. I mean, it was a close play, right? I mean, let's be fair. It was a very close play. Franco wasn't the only one that thought it was a foul ball. So did the hitter, Starlin Castro. But
well,
it happens.
Assume nothing. I mean, that's the rule. I mean, that's why you always run everything out. That's why you have to assume that the ball's in play until you're told otherwise. That's why the hidden ball trick still works, though. You're right. People assume things.
Well, the Home Run Derby mobile game is back with more competition, more challenge, and more dingers than ever before. Enter the code ALLSTARDC to unlock exclusive All-Star gear at MLB.com/HRD game. Brad Ziegler in to pitch. Will face the bottom third of the Phillies order. Scott Kingery and then Jorge Alfaro, and the pitcher spot Aaron Nola. But it looks like Aaron Altair is looming in the hole, but we'll see. Inside to Kingery, who is 0 for 2 today. Saw Ziegler last night in the 9th inning. His scoreless inning streak came to an end at 10 innings in the course of 11 games. Gets a ground ball and past the diving attempt of Miguel Rojas. Kingery is aboard to lead off the 7th.
You felt like for Kingery, he was probably due. Lined out to right, lined out to center, and just squeaks one up the middle. It's tough to hit up here at the big league level. Almost lost another hit here, just past the glove.
That'll bring up Jorge Alfaro. A double down the right field line. Back in the 5th inning, also struck out. One of 4 strikeouts for Trevor Richards this afternoon in 6 scoreless innings of work. This one chopped up the middle. Castro to Rojas. Off balance throw. Safe at first. Rojas tried to turn that with as little movement as possible. Just kind of slung it over there.
I'll tell you what, the creativity by Marlins middle infielders this season has been impressive. I mean, they do some different things, and you see different ways of getting rid of the baseball. Watch Starlin Castro there on the flip. Tries to get rid of it as quickly as he can. Rojas was thinking a little different. Catch and throw. Watch. He kind of has to straighten his leg out and then turn his shoulders towards first base. Plus get something on that throw. Unable to do it. I mean, I'll tell you what, close play at first. My goodness.
So close, in fact, the Marlins are going to take a look at it. And the ruling on the field was safe. So there's going to have to be enough video evidence to overturn it. From that particular angle, my eyes didn't see enough, but perhaps on a different viewpoint we'll be able to see it.
Yeah, this is I keep getting burned on this one. I mean, again, this is the interior of the glove. I mean, is it the back of the pocket of the glove? You know what I'm talking about here? There's no doubt that the ball is, look, it's in his glove right now,
there,
but it's not in the pocket. See what I'm saying? You can almost see it suspended in the air. Watch. Watch his foot. Watch the ball.
Right.
The ball is going to enter the glove area first. See? He still hasn't touched yet. Good luck. Go get him. Come on, Paul. Call it.
You want me to say something?
50-50. Pick something.
I gotta go stands. That's my guess.
You're probably right. I'm gonna go out just because. Oh, thought he was gonna give me the outside. I'm telling you. I mean, we've seen. Am I lying? We've seen a number of these this year that have been like.
Well,
really?
And again, that's the thing, is that it's tough for the video review folks employed by the teams, because sometimes, I mean, we'll sit here and there was one 2 weeks ago.
Right.
We saw that there was no chance. And we were dead wrong only because there was a play after
contact at a different spot.
Right, that we weren't looking
at.
Now this one's a little bit more clear cut in the sense that nobody's getting tagged on the helmet or whatever the case was a couple of weeks ago.
I just think it's the interpretation of the interior of the glove there, and that was all I was bringing up.
Right.
I think my answer to that was he would have been safe in April, but there were things that have led me to change my opinion many times.
Yeah, you're very wishy-washy. You're not sure which way to commit.
It's not my fault.
No, I understand that.
They made me be this.
I know.
As black and white as I am in everything else in my life, you think this doesn't bother me as much as it does?
Absolutely.
Keeps me up at night.
I know. But I think you need to stop blaming other people for your problems.
I just wish somebody would explain it to me. So we have black and white.
That's all you
there
want.
you go. That's all I want.
Two balls and no strikes to the pinch hitter Aaron Altair. Dribbled up the third base line, but foul. Well, this is the middle game of a 3-game set heading into the All-Star break. The unofficial first half ends tomorrow. South Florida Honda dealers have Marlins live for you at 12:30 Eastern time. Craig, Jeff, and Tommy with Lewis Brinson on the set. In advance of Zach Eflin and Jose Urena, the two starting pitchers. I know that for Brinson, it's kind of driving him nuts these days that he's on the disabled list. You know, for a guy who's played every day, you've been there, right?
Oof.
On the disabled, you feel like you're part of the team, but then you're not. You're not on the road trips. It's very difficult.
You got to get your hands back on the rope. That's really the way it works. If your hands aren't on the rope and you're not helping the team pull, you feel like, boy, oh boy, I'm not carrying my burden, carrying my load, if you will.
On the ground to short. This one a little bit more clear cut. Just a matter of time. Big double play ball for Brad Ziegler to help preserve a 2-0 lead. Nothing.
Oh, that poor boy's got some drool.
Yes, he does. Well, hey, jump into a summer of savings with the Marlins Flex 4-pack. You can customize a plan to save on individual game pricing and lock in priority access to giveaways. Starting at just $20, take your pick of games and access giveaways, including our first ever celebrity bobbleheads featuring Pitbull and DJ Khaled. Visit marlins.com/flex4 today. You see the Ham Porter bobblehead. That's coming up tomorrow. I think you get a Squints bobblehead too tomorrow with a special ticket pack as well. Mark Leiter Jr., who was up in the first inning today in the bullpen, finally comes into pitch here in the 7th.
10th game of the season, 4.85 ERA, 12 strikeouts, 13 innings, 31 opponents batting average against.
Well, he comes in after 6 really good innings from Aaron Nola, and outside of that first, he was even better, but he did give up the 2 runs that right now is the difference in this ball game. Miguel Rojas, Cameron Maben, and the pitcher spot due up for the Marlins. The 0-1 now to Rojas, foul back.
A lighter four-seam fastball, sinker, split finger. Also throws a curve and a cutter. 91, 92 miles an hour. Occasionally see him touch 93. Splitty about 85. Throws it about 30% of the time.
Up the third base line. That one rolled back. I don't know what a fair and foul ball is anymore.
You gotta watch the guy in the box. He called it foul off Rojas.
Is that what it was?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I just happened to see it though. That was just luck for me.
Let's see.
Watch. It's off him. It's off. It went
It
between
went
his legs.
between his legs.
Right. Well, he also fouled it off. I think the front part of his left thigh on the way through, and then it came back. I just happened to see that.
Poor Mike Franco over there at third. Now he's like, do you want me to complete the play? I will.
That's right. Throwing it across. I will not be giving any balls away anytime soon.
Oh, man. All right, so here's what we do know. It's 0-2. Balls and 2 strikes from Mark Leiter, who was born in Fort Lauderdale. Of course, the son of Mark, nephew of Al. Pitched in 27 games last year, started 11. This is his 10th game this year, all out of the bullpen for the Phillies.
He continues to pound Rojas in with the split finger. That's the pitch you see Rojas defending himself against.
Two and two. Line caught. A leaping play at second by Cesar Hernandez for the first out.
Nice job by Hernandez timing the leap. Most assuredly taking a hit away. Good swing there by Rojas.
All right, let's keep things light and send it down to Craig.
Thanks, Paul. I was talking to Mark Leiter yesterday. The Leiter boys, his father and Al Leiter, of course, who pitched for the Marlins a couple of stints. They battled against each other, at least on paper, back in 1997. It looked like it was going to be a boyhood dream come true. They used to have those talks back in Jersey. Hey, maybe one day we'll pitch against each other in the major leagues. Well, there was a date. Some fans may remember 1997. The Marlins and the Blue Jays were playing down at Pro Player Stadium. They were matched up, but guess what? The rains came and the game was rained out. The next day the game was played. Mark Leiter pitched for Toronto, but Jim Leland skipped Al Leiter. They never got to pitch against each other. They still remember it. Mark was talking about that. It is a sore spot with the Leiter family, especially his dad, the older brother. Guys?
Hey, Craig, thanks. I know that clearly this is Mark's son, but Al's son threw a no-hitter, I believe it was in high school ball over the summer. 25 or 30 years after his dad threw one in high school as well.
I mean, are we supposed to be surprised at that?
I guess not.
Yeah, we shouldn't be. I don't think. I would almost expect it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I suppose. Threw one of the no-hitters in Marlins franchise history. Al Leiter did.
The only question I have about any of that report is where in the world is Craig?
I believe he's up
in Marlins Park, actually?
He's in the upper deck. He's with the dogs. I think he was wiping some of the slobber off the dog that we had coming back from break. Cleaning up the mess.
Craig,
yes.
There you are. Oh, what do you have?
We're with dogs. This dog has a theme song.
He does, actually.
What is the song?
He's a good boy. Loves his mommy. Loves licking. and begging to.
All right.
He's my pal.
All right, he's got a very nice theme song. One of the stars up here. He's doing the show after Bark at the Park guys. He'll be on here at 4:30, I think. No, 7:30. He's on stage at 7:30.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
Tom Puppy and the Heartbreakers, right?
You know what? This really is. We were just talking, though. It's a home run. The Broward County Humane Society gets all the proceeds from the dog tickets. Look at the crowd here that brings their dogs. Everybody has a great time when they come out. And by the way, there will be one for the Miami-Dade County Humane Society in the last Sunday of August, August 26th.
Thank you for that, Craig, as Cameron Maben steals second base, so he's at it again. Cam's been on the run quite a bit last 4 or 5 games.
He certainly has. Got a great jump on Leiter. Good 3-4 steps, makes his way into second base. Fantastic job. You're right. I mean, Cam's game is really kind of advanced. It's getting more opportunity in center field. We've seen him run more. Certainly seen him take his walks and get on base.
Seven steals for Maben this year. Oh, 0-1 to Garrett Cooper. Takes a called strike. 0-2.
4 stolen bases in his last 5 games played for Cameron Maben. I mean, isn't the universal theme song for the dogs "Who Let the Dogs Out"?
It should be. This one, a fair ball down the third baseline. Dug out by Santana. Heads up base running by Maben to get to third, now with 2 outs.
Fantastic read by Maben on the bases. Franco all the way to the foul line once again. And how about the pick by Santana? That's not easy to do. Good read at first base. Maben was anticipating the throw and well on his way. As that ball ends up down, he's almost got third base. Well, he does have third base standing up. No slide necessary.
That's going to be it for Mark Leiter Jr. To the pen go the Phillies. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. We are back in a moment. Jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Austin Davis in his 9th game this year out of the bullpen. A lefty for the Phillies to face Derek Dietrich.
This is a little mano-a-mano here. He struck out 11 batters in his last 7 2/3 innings, 13 and 8 2/3 on the season. He has not been up long, only about a month. He was recalled June 20th.
So here's Dietrich taking a called strike on the outside corner. Dietrich a single and a run scored in the first inning. miss. 0-2. One of just 4 hits today for the Marlins. Phillies have 5, but the only column that counts the run column. 2-0 Miami, same score as last night. Maben dancing way off of third base, and that forces Davis to step off. Maben got about a third, halfway down the third baseline. Now Franco moves over even closer.
Well, Maben's not really thinking.
Right field line.
Maben in that situation wasn't thinking about trying to steal home. He was trying to get him to balk. Trying to get him to start and stop. Nearly an opportunity to try to get him to panic. As I mentioned, Davis up not quite a month yet here at the major league level.
Oh, 0-2 to Dietrich. Ground ball, second base, backhanded by Hernandez. And throw gets Dietrich at first. We are through 7. Oh, look, there's play. You're not getting paid for today just because you're on TV. Low scoring affair. No run scored since the bottom of the first inning. 2-0 here at Marlins Park. Hit it out of the park with a family friendly deal. Pick up the Aquafina 4-pack tomorrow when the Marlins take on the Phillies at 1:10. Get 4 tickets, 4 Nathan's all beef hot dogs and 4 Pepsi soft drinks or Aquafina waters. Packages start at just $84. Purchase yours today at marlins.com/offers. Garrett Cooper stays in the game. He's out in left field. And Drew Steckenrider comes in the other half of that double switch. Dietrich out. Steckenrider, 46th game this year. Opponent sitting just 217 off him. He'll get the top third of the Phillies order. Cesar Hernandez, who squares and pulls back for ball 1. And then Rhys Hoskins and Odubel Herrera.
Steck has been a busy man in this first half. Numbers against the lefties and righties, no favorable splits. 219 against the lefties, 216 against the righties. Fastball, good fastball command, 93-95. Slider, changeup.
Now Prado was in on the grass, maybe still expecting a bunt. And Hernandez hit it right past him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good example of even the threat of a bunt. That's what it does, is it pulls the third baseman in, and certainly will do it. Slaps it by Prado. It's the first hit of the ball game. But for Steckenrider, certainly looking to make amends. Last couple of times out in that Brewers series, knocked around a little bit. 3 earned runs. His last 2 times out. He's also been hit a little bit. 4 hits allowed.
Here's Rhys Hoskins now. He takes ball 1. Hoskins, couple of hits today, a single in the first and the third, and made a bid for extra bases in the 5th inning, but it was Cameron Maben ranging all the way from just about left center field to right center field to make a play up against the wall. This time around, Cam's got Hoskins shaded a little bit toward right center field. Two and one. Four at-bats between these two, as you see how Steckenrider's been used the last week. Thursday an off day for everybody. Didn't pitch last night.
Get a little space on that inside corner, even up this count at 2-2.
JT sets up inside again. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. This one popped up. Prado looking at Rojas, who will make the play. That'll bring up Odubel Herrera, who has seen Steckenrider 3 times in his career. He struck out twice. For a called strike. That one in there at 95 miles an hour. Slapped foul into the seats, and it's 0-2. Steckenrider didn't make his major league debut last year until May 24th. So this
Oakland.
So this is kind of that like first full season at the big league level. I'm just thinking of the 45, 46, 47 outings for him.
Absolutely.
So just kind of how a young arm like this, especially in today's day and age of relievers, how you kind of pace that out. It will be a challenge as the rest of the season goes on.
Well, he's flown right into leverage. I think it's so interesting, right? In this day and age where we talk high velocity and efficiency late in ball games, Steckenrider came up, kind of captivated all of us when we saw him in Oakland. Certainly the big arm, 96, 97, the ability to attack big league hitters. You know, a year later, he is one of your main answers in late innings.
I mean, last year at AAA, 26 games, 33 1/3 innings. Then in the big leagues, 37 games, 34 2/3 innings.
About 70 innings total, right?
Yeah. Herrera pops this one up left side, giving chase Prado. We'll see if he has enough room. He did. It stays on the field of play, but in a spot where he couldn't get to. Still 1-2. So that's how you do it, I guess. You wait for it to definitely be called foul, then you flip it in the seats. I'm starting to get it. What were you telling me in the break about the Rays game today?
Oh my. We like to keep track of things going on around baseball. It's just one of those odd games, and we've seen this a little bit this week. You know, things always seem to get a little loose during the week leading up to the All-Star break.
Right.
If you've not noticed the scores and game action and great comebacks and all this other stuff, it happens all the time. I mean, it's almost predictable. Why? Because it's why every manager has a meeting about the last week of the season and asks his players to focus. Well, why? Why would you have to all of a sudden do something? Well, because it's the last week leading up to the All-Star break. So in Minnesota, Twins were comfortably ahead after 6 innings. Yeah, you beat me to it. 6-4. They were winning this game 6-4 after 6 innings. Final score 19-6. My goodness. Rays scored 5 in the 7th, 5 in the 8th, and 5 in the 9th. What's that going to do to your bullpen ERA? Bloat it. Boy, we had a great bullpen ERA in the first half until one game.
This one toward left center field, racing over. Maben will track it down in the gap, and back to first base goes Hernandez. 2 away in the 8th.
Well, if there ever was any doubt that this ballpark really must have a center fielder who can go get the baseball, I think today's probably the greatest example of this. Maben has been literally from gap to gap covering a football field and making catch after catch. Nice running catch there for the second out here in the 8th.
There is a lot of real estate out there, and Maben today has done a terrific job covering it.
You got Anderson playing straight up right now, and Cooper kind of tucked into that left field corner. The rest for Maben. Go get him, big guy.
Anything with air under it, he'll catch it.
All right.
Like earlier today off the bat of Reese Hoskins. He was shaded toward left center. This is in right center field, and he makes the play.
Absolutely amazing. We're going to continue to see this throughout the evening, I'm sure, on just about every other network. One of the finest catches you're going to see today, probably this week. Fantastic effort in a huge moment, by the way, in a 2-0 ball game.
Two balls and no strikes to Carlos Santana. So that's about where Maben was when he started. And then there's that Arm & Hammer sign in the right center field gap. That was a long way to run. Excellent job by Maben. Now Steckenrider. This one ripped down the right field line and foul into the corner.
One thing you learn as an outfielder here at Marlins Park, having conversations with both Maben and Anderson, certainly about it. You know, the pre-pitch preparation has got to be spot on. You've got to anticipate sequencing, counts. You're thinking, okay, this is a fastball count. This is a hitter's count. He may try to pull the ball right here. What do you see Santana do on the 3-0 pitch, right? 3-1 pitch. Probably thinking the same thing. No, he's not looking to slap one the other way. He's looking to tie up this game. So you think that way as an outfielder, and you anticipate your movement in that direction.
An excuse me swing there by Santana into the netting, and it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
So now in this situation, Cameron is going to be a little bit more open-minded. Why? Because now you've got a runner who's moving at first base, and at the same time you've got a 3-2 count. So Santana can't completely commit to a pull type of swing. He's got to play it a little bit more straight up, even against Steckenrider. So Maben will probably hold his ground just a little bit longer to where the ball may actually be hit.
Hernandez off with the pitch, swung on and missed. Strike 3. Steckenrider gets Santana, who was the tying run in the 8th inning, blows him away to the bottom of the 8th.
game. Taking over. Yeah, we taking over the game. Take over. Now we taking over the game. And you know we won't stop, cause we don't feel pain. Stop. Now we taking over the game. Taking over. Yeah, we taking over the game. Take over. Cause now we taking over the game.
Austin Davis back out, got the last out of inning number 7, back out there for the 8th. He'll face Brian Anderson, JT Realmuto, and Justin Bohr. Marlins looking to tack on to a 2-0 lead and try to even up this series at a game apiece. For Anderson today, singled and scored in the first, and then a couple of ground ball outs.
For Davis, 4-seam fastball, changeup, slider. Righties will see all 3 of those. Lefties will see the 4-seamer and the slider. A very similar game to yesterday. Phillies scored early, added 1 late, winning game 1 of this series 2-0. Marlins flipping the script this evening to add to the 2-0 lead.
Anderson pops this one up on the infield, and it's Hernandez for the first out. Well, catch baseball's biggest stars for an unforgettable show from the nation's capital. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox, or stream it on the Fox Sports app. See this guy there, the Marlins representative, and certainly well deserving. 310 average, 12 homers, 44 RBIs. Go up and down the list of where he ranks among primary catchers in Major League Baseball, and it's at the top of most lists. First in runs, doubles, and extra base hits. Tied for first in hits entering the day. Second in ribbies. Tied for second in triples and home runs.
Now the Marlins offense this afternoon, not much, not past that first inning. Only 1 hit in the first. Obviously a couple of runs scored. Hits in just 5 of the 16 innings this series.
Got a piece of Realmuto. Fortunately, it looks like a very little piece, thankfully. So he's over at first with 1 out.
Now this slider's kind of hunting its way to that back edge, that back corner. Catches him right on maybe the big toe of that right foot.
Here's Justin Bohr. 1 on, 1 out. 0 for 3 today. And there for a called strike is Kyle Bearclaw, getting set for the 9th inning. At least a 2-run lead to work with. Unable to hold up, and it's 0-2. Bearclaw will get Franco, Williams, and Kingery as the Marlins look to improve on a 19-18 record since June 5th, which is just 4 wins shy of the Dodgers, the most wins in the National League in that span, as Bohr strikes out for the 2nd out.
They were at pretty new look. I think if you saw Davis right there kind of pull the lineup and the game plan out of his back pocket, it's been a while. I know for me, and most old school guys find that like they're bothered by it. And I'm always kind of intrigued, interested, like what those cards actually say. What do you throw with a runner on first and second, 2-2 pitch against a right-handed batter? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and again, it's certainly not an indictment on Davis or the Phillies. It's just the way the game is now.
Absolutely.
I mean, we see outfielders do it all the time. They'll take their hat off. They've got notes in the hat.
Where they're supposed to be standing, right? Who they're supposed to be playing, what they're supposed to be doing on certain counts. That's what Davis was doing before Castro jumped in, was kind of reading a mini scouting report, I'm guessing. Or maybe the sequencing for which they would like to see him attack Castro. And what I mean by that is like sliders early, fastballs late, or sinkers and changeups.
This one gets away from Alfaro, throws down to second, and Real Muto is in there.
I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good example of his arm strength, was it not?
Yeah.
My goodness, halfway between home and the backstop. JT didn't get necessarily the greatest read because Alfaro almost kept this in front. In fact, he kicked it farther back. That's exactly what happened. Watch JT. He kind of hesitates and then decides to go. But Alfaro, from his back leg, I mean, really nothing, any kind of momentum into the throw, throws an absolute seed to second base. JT just makes it in.
So a runner in scoring position with 2 outs after the wild pitch. Softly hit to short. Kingery up with it. And this game goes to the 9th inning with the Marlins up 2-0. We'll see Kyle Bearclaw on the other side. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. 2-0 Marlins on top as we go to the top of the 9th inning. The pitching has been great all day on both sides. In fact, both games of this series as well. A couple of changes for the Marlins as JT Riddle comes in at shortstop, and that will move Miguel Rojas from short to first. Justin Bour out of the game, and Kyle Bearclaw in to try to close it out. He is 8 for 11 in save opportunities, and he will face 5, 6, and 7 for the Phils. Maikel Franco, Nick Williams, and Scott Kingery up 2-0.
Now Kyle's looking for save number 9 on the season, the reigning reliever of the month for the National League, obviously the month of June. Fantastic stuff in June. Lefty's hitting 111, righty's 120. Now his last time out, certainly there's been enough space in between his last time out and today, in a few days. If you remember, walked 3 and struck out 3, threw well over 30 pitches in that inning. Came away unscathed.
Just kind of alternated, right?
Well, he did. I mean, it was escape artist, right? I mean, I've seen Kyle do that before. I just hadn't really seen him do it this year. And he did it a little bit more last year. I mean, to the point you realize that his stuff at times can be unhittable. I mean, we've got his consecutive hitless streak to explain that, but every now and again he runs into a bout of wildness.
Franco in the air, shallow right, back is Castro, and he will make the catch for the first out of the inning. Not an easy play, kind of that Bermuda Triangle out there, but Castro raced over to make the play.
Now, fantastic job. Starlin Castro calling it all the way. He's got the best line to the baseball. He's going at an angle. Rojas kind of has to turn and, run to catch it over his shoulder. So really not in the ideal position. That's who you want to see catch that ball. Nice job by Starlin.
So here's Nick Williams. Swings and misses at 93 miles an hour from Bearclaw. And to your point, 32 pitches last time out against the Brewers. The most he's thrown in an outing all year. And when he was on that run, that was the longest streak in baseball at the time. I mean, it was 15 pitches or less every inning.
Yeah. And his command was spot on. He was using all three as well as you possibly could pitch, really. I mean, that's just the best way to describe it. Now, not that he's any less of that now. It's just, maybe just a little bit more off. He's having to work a little harder. All right, so we always love to announce the attendance on Bark at the Park Day. 14,793 humans, 435 canines. Well done, everybody.
Very nice.
435 canines. So it's a big number.
So if everybody brought 2 bags.
Now you're talking a language I don't know.
That's 870 bags, I believe. Hit to first base. Rojas the flip. And the Phillies are down to their final out. Craig, not pictured. Tommy Hutton and Jeff Nelson, pictured. Coming up on the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. We'll hear from Don Mattingly. Craig is on the field. Well, no, he's not on the field. He would get reprimanded for that, but he's close to the field, waiting to hopefully talk to a winning Marlin player. But first, Kyle Bearclaw's got to get Scott Kingery. Kingery takes low and away, a ball and no strikes. Kingery 1 for 3 today, got a base hit against Brad Ziegler in the 7th. Behind home plate, coming right toward us. Series wraps up tomorrow. The first half wraps up tomorrow. The Marlins hoping it is a rubber match against the Phils. The 1-1.
Certainly a close 1-1 pitch. Seen a few of those called a strike this afternoon.
And the Marlins are a strike away from doing to the Phillies what the Phillies did to them last night.
That last pitch was a pretty good example of where Kyle Bearclaw has been almost all first half. I mean, JT gave him a target low and away, and JT's glove, I'm telling you, didn't move an inch. Give you a quick look. I mean, that is just hitting the glove right there. You can't do it any better than that.
Here's the 2-2 tap foul. Zach Eflin and Jose Urania tomorrow. Here comes from Bear Claw into center field. That's going to fall in for a base hit. A 2-out knock for Kingery, his second of the afternoon. And the Phillies will bring the tying run to the plate. And it will be Andrew Knapp off the bench.
Well, Knapp 3 for 12 this season, pinch hitting. He does have a home run. I like this meeting here. Waniev is making his way out just to kind of a little refresher course on Knapp. This isn't about Bear Claw. It's about who's in the box, what his strengths and weaknesses are.
Knapp, a second-round pick of the Phillies in 2013. Saw him last night. Got a base hit in the 9th inning, but that was kind of on that weird play, that base hit to right field. He took a big turn around first base. Marlins ended up getting him out to end the inning. Right now, the last thing standing in between the Marlins and a win is Andrew Knapp. And a called strike. Marlins not holding the runner at first, but Rojas is protecting the line. A couple of feet off that first baseline as Knapp loses his lid there, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, back-to-back changeups. First one away, second one in. That's kind of the swing you want. That's what Bear Claw's looking for. You want to see a hitter come unglued like he's swinging at a fastball right there at 94, 95, and you pull the string at 87, and that's the result. That's the look you're trying to get.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it misses outside. Jesmuel Valentin is in the on-deck circle. Jose's son. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bear Claw delivers. A line drive, base hit center field. Kingery makes the turn on his way to third. And the Phillies still alive here in the 9th with 2 outs.
Yeah, much better swing at the changeup this time. He saw 4 consecutive changeups from Bear Claw. Finds number 4 into center field. He's definitely set up the Philadelphia Phillies for a big moment. This is their best opportunity since really the first inning.
So it is Jesmuel Valentin. His dad Jose played a number of years in the big leagues. This guy's got 39 games. Takes down low.
This is his 18th pinch hitting appearance. He's 3 for 17. Has struck out pinch hitting 8 times. Bearclaw can execute his arsenal. To believe he would get the necessary out here in the top of the 9th.
In the 20th pitch of the inning for Bearclaw. It's off the edge, 2-0. Three balls and no strikes.
Almost anticipate Bearclaw staying away once again. No reason to find out if he's got enough power middle in at Marlins Park. Advantage pitcher middle away.
3-1 on the way. Lifted left side. Tough play. Riddle over. Makes the play.
Got it all the way.
It's a Marlins win. A big smile by JT Riddle, who makes it look easy. 2-0 the final score. Prado back. Riddle enters your picture. Yeah, had it all the way. How about that? Entered the game for defense. And JT Riddle a pat on the back, or JT Realmuto rather, a pat on the back for Kyle Bearclaw, who had to kind of finagle through the inning a little bit there.
Well, one thing you always remember about Marlins Park, especially late in ball games, advantage away. You want to stay to that outside part of the plate. You're not going to find out if somebody can go deep on you to right field or to their pull side. You can stay away. A lot of times you get that pop-up or that fly ball the other way. Nice job by Claw working his way through that 9th.
So it is a 2-0 victory for the Marlins as they have evened up this series. They'll look to keep things rolling tomorrow. And when I say keep things rolling, they have won 4 of the last 5 home series. And tomorrow they will look to take 2 out of 3 from a first place team again, as they did in the previous series against the Milwaukee Brewers. They've got Jose Urania on the mound tomorrow against Zach Eflin. And again, this series even up at 1 apiece. And really kind of a murderer's row of starting pitchers that they have faced. Arrieta last night, Nola today, Eflin tomorrow. But let's talk about the win and send it down to Craig.
Well, nice to talk about the win. Martin Prado, your team has faced some great pitchers this year. Scherzer, DeGrom, Kershaw. You've hung in with most of these guys. You did it again today with Nola. How impressed are you the way you've been able to do it against some of the aces of the game?
You know, like that dictates how we just approach to these good pitchers. I think Nola is becoming like one of the best pitchers in the game, and to be able to adjust and have a good approach against him is a tough task for us. But we took advantage of that first inning. I think he was like not commanding the fastball, but he's always a guy that along the way he gets better. So it was an overall good game, good defense.
Monkey, hit and run. Go ahead, Martine. They keep telling me they like the pies. I don't get it.
Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no.
Whoa. Oh. A combination. We're not gonna get guests after a while here. Oh boy, that was cool. Go ahead, give you a second. You wanna clean it? Go ahead. One more? Get out of here. Monkey. Monkey see, monkey do with the Adiel Rivera. Wow. It's a special win here tonight.
Wow, yeah. Well, the way I say it was a team win.
Yeah.
Cam got a we got a great break, great play by Cam, and overall guys just having good at bats, good defense, and at the end of the day, that's the kind of stuff that just make the win games.
You mentioned the first inning, not only the bottom of the first inning, Martine, but the top of the first. They get a couple of guys on base, and you get 2 big strikeouts there from Trevor Richards.
Trevor just locating the fastball and off pitch, the changeup, we're just throwing it for stride and be able to get the other team hitters off balance, and that was a good game for him.
Can you talk about yourself? You came back July 5th here in a week's time or so. You had 5 RBIs. You look like you're getting your game back, which has been tough, obviously, because you were here. You got hurt twice. Nobody expected, I don't think, before the All-Star break. I'm not even sure you did when you first had the injury. And you look like you're starting to look like Martin Prado again.
Sometimes it's hard to get the rhythm and the rhythm of the game and be able to play at this level is just so difficult. For me, it's been more physical than mentally, and the staff, the coaches, and the trainers have been like making my job easier and getting me back to on the field and play games.
Last thought I have for you, then we'll let you go. The Marlins are 19-17 in their last 36 games. That goes back to very early June. Here we are approaching the All-Star break. I always like to talk to you to get a little finger on the pulse of the team. What do you make of that run after everybody acknowledge a rough start to this season?
It's not the way you start. It's the way you approach into the season, and I think that guys just getting the feeling of what we need to do on a daily basis to play good games. We're not worried about we're not gonna be a team that we're gonna hit homers every day, so we have to have good at bats and grind it, and I think these guys have been doing a great job.
Good job. Go get in a real shower now.
Thank you.
All right, guys. 2 showers and a shaving cream pie. I hope we still can get guests on this show, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Craig. We appreciate it. The Yadiel and Miguel Rojas tandem were relentless today, as were the Marlins. Marlins Live postgame show coming up after a 2-0 win.